News Panorama is a TV news magazine program that gives you the story behind the story.
It tells the stories the way they should be told, by capturing the larger scale.
It tells the stories of how issues affect people's lives and what they have to say about them.
It deals with people's deep feelings on issues that, when brought to the fore, ultimately educates, informs and entertains.
News Panorama. Capture the larger scale.
Fake news is increasingly affecting societal values, changing opinions on critical issues and topics, as well as redefining fact and belief. This week on News Panorama, we take a look at how fake news impacts on the society and the way forward. The Cross River State Ministry for Transportation released a press release on the use of the state colors by commercial vehicles and its impact on the common man. And on the spot with the Cross River State Commissioner for Transportation, Pastor Ekpenyong Kobom, he throws more light on the state government's directive on the usage of the state color by commercial drivers. Welcome and thanks for joining me on the program News Panorama. I am Josephine Efanga.
News Panorama. Capture the larger scale.
If you have just tuned in, you are watching News Panorama. Fake news has become a serious issue of concern in Nigeria. Statistically, 45% of people believe they encounter fake news daily. As breaking news unfolds, people increasingly rely on social media to stay abreast on the latest updates. Grace Sampson brings details, the report.
Information fabrication is not a new trend, as it has been features of human communication from time immemorial, but never has there been a technology to effectively disseminate it. The introduction of information technology has paved the way for the creation of content and easy sharing of information from one source to another within seconds. In the process of engaging in online interaction and discussion, these users forward information that they deem relevant to other people on their social media network like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, which are the most used internet platform mainly for the purpose of instant communication. When sharing the news, people often don't stop and think about the authenticity of the information shared. And in today's world, instant internet access and social media platform news is shared to millions at the touch of a button, and there lies the danger. The State Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Mr. Erasmus Ekpang, emphasized on the need for content regulations to curb the spread of fake news in the state and across.
Some people will not sit down to get the authenticity of any story, and they will just put it on breaking news. And then by the time they say breaking news and it has to do with what will affect you, honestly, definitely it's going to affect you negatively. Now, trying to debunk that or getting the true story of it at the end of the day, many people will think you have actually bribed their way in, or whatever was supposed to be breaking news is not true. There are a lot of other fake stories that had actually carried people to jail. Before investigation and all that, they have already suffered it. So I think there should be a law. And that's what I was even begging. I was even begging the NUJ too. When we sometimes don't have press conference with them, I appeal to them that please there should be sanctions and penalties. So some of your journalists that will just wake up and just, because to be a journalist is not easy, it's professional. So for you to throw out a message where you know people will just be hanging injunctions to read these newspapers, and you know how with this AI, this technology, digital and all that, how they spread for social media is. Once you put any message on Facebook today, it's gone to even Russia, America, Germany, everywhere. And by the time you want to try to debunk it, I mean, it's passed totally.
According to the General Manager of Cross River Broadcasting Corporation, Mr. Sam Nso, fake news tend to spread faster than the real news due to its wider coverage and wider audience, whom are being attracted by the catchy headlines and captions, urging journalists to always verify news content before letting out on the internet.
We must look at all the sides of that story before we bring the story on. It will do us a lot of good. How do we regulate that story? I think the CBS will have to do some work, and the chairman of the NUJ. I recall sometime when we had a media week, there was this conversation we said that how do we regulate reports? And we regulate that, especially at the social media aspect. Everybody now is a journalist. Everybody is a freelance. Everybody writes anything and throw it out there without recourse to whether it's harmful or anything. But do we have to censor or do we have to control? There must be a mechanism to control this press.
The average Nigerian social media users are presented with a lot of information every day. Most of its messages comes with instruction which might be slightly coercive, stating the importance and consequences of sharing the news. This user has other things to attend to and therefore has limited or no time to verify the content, and as such the user would likely spread information he deems important without proper confirmation. With sense of care and protection for loved ones, he or she forward the fake news to them. They in turn forward it to others who continue the circle until it becomes common knowledge. Some cross-reverends spoke on how they have been victims of this.
The spread of fake news has affected the life of so many Nigerians, especially the local man that does not really have access to, CNN, where you can get this information legitimately. Those persons that depend on social media and their bloggers, they just carry fake information about things that are not really true. Most of us don't really have, the channels to get this information rightly, so we depend on all these social media channels, and then we just go around with this fake news, and we don't just get it, we pass it on to the next person, and the next person passes it on to the next person, and it becomes a major problem for us.
The mindset of the people is where the challenge comes from. What people or youth, in quote, what they are meant to believe about the social media. I believe if we are given the right mindset on what this social media is used for and what the social media is supposed to do in our society, I think the better use of the social media will begin.
In this era where almost everyone craves to be identified as content creators for the sake of social media views and likes, people reach out to their phones first to get first-hand shots of events or scenes for the purpose of content creation, even in life-threatening situations, without thinking of means to salvage the situation.
With the way things are going now in social media, and the way everybody wants to do content promotion and everything, I feel like it has not only affected our morals and it has equally affected our ethics. Because why would a surgeon or a theater or somebody be doing videos inside an operation room? Like why? When there are patients there, I feel like ethics were taught to us for a purpose and for a reason. There are ethics to these professions and people are not keeping to it. You can see somebody dying on the road or people fighting in the hostel. You see a young person filming the person to send it to the internet instead of going to help the person who had an accident or looking for a way to rescue the person and take the person to the hospital. They will stand there until the life will go away, the life will pass away. Whereas there is a little chance to save such life by calling a car to take the person to the hospital. They are supposed to show love through the word of God that they hear. But most of our youth goes to church without even hearing. They hear the word of God, they will be able to activate that attitude.
The Information Commissioner urged cross-reverends to always verify information before sharing.
My message to the masses concerning fake news is patience. 1. Try to be very patient when you get or read daily news. Verify the source of that news. And then don't be quick to actions.
Grace Sampson reporting for News Panorama.
Recently, the Cross River Ministry of Transportation released a memo instructing drivers in the state to paint their vehicles with the state colors, as well as register for security number to curb security challenges and aesthetic in the state. Ifeanyi Ekpeita brings details of the report.
One of the fundamental aspects of a well-organized public transport system is color uniformity among vehicles. Consistent color schemes enable easy identification of authorized vehicles, promoting passenger trust and enhancing safety. For instance, a uniform color scheme for buses, taxis, and other public transport vehicles can significantly reduce the confusion among commuters, allowing them to quickly identify the services they require. Moreover, color uniformity contributes to brand identity for public transport operators, fostering a sense of reliability and professionalism. When passengers recognize a consistent color scheme associated with a particular transport company, they are more likely to trust its services and rely on them for their daily commute. This aspect becomes particularly crucial in densely populated urban areas where multiple transport options compete for passengers' attention. In addition to color uniformity, integrating security coding systems into public transport vehicles can further enhance their efficiency and safety. Technology such as QR codes or RFID tags can be used to authenticate the legitimacy of vehicles, ensuring that passengers board authorized and safe transport vehicles. These coding systems can also enable real-time tracking of vehicles, allowing transport operators and authorities to monitor their movement and intervene in case of emergencies. It is in line with this that the Ministry of Transportation, in a recent development, released the memo which stated that all public transport in the state be in a uniform color as well as register for a security code. Although seen as a welcome development, there have been cases of disagreements from the end of the drivers with regards to the new policy. Speaking in an interview to address this matter, the Commissioner of Transportation, Pastor Ekpeyon Kobum, pointed out that prior to the release of the memo, there had been deliberations with the union leaders of the drivers' associations as well as the drivers themselves to brief them about the new development. He further stated that there had been an agreement on both sides concerning the pricing.
I stand to be controverted by anybody who says he has a better price. Whoever says he has a better price, I will award the person the job. They accept it. Do a thorough job so you are able to balance your information.
Yes.
I see it as absolute mischief because at no point has there been a breakdown in the communication chain.
Okay.
There's never been any time that we stifled their effort to reach out to us. I'm a public officer. I owe them a duty to answer their calls and hear their problems.
Speaking concerning the security coding, he stated that those who have registered prior to the announcement do not have to be registered again as long as they have proof of registration.
The security coding is an old policy. It's captured in my budget this year. It was there last year. It was there year before last. It has not come with my administration. Security coding is the big number. The 100 Marian numbering is unreliable because it's a number which they use in controlling their registration and is subject to be renewed every year, and it is changed every year. Now, the security coding is a one-off security identification which connects that vehicle with the actual owner, not the driver. So at all times, if we have to enter that data into our system, we're able to know that, okay, this bus belongs to Magdalene. And if there's any issue, we can track the original owner.
The memo released by the Ministry of Transportation has asked all public transportation drivers to spray the vehicles in the state color as well as get a security coding. We are here in the streets of Calabar to sample the opinions of drivers concerning this memo and how it can impact them and their businesses. The drivers in an interview voiced out their displeasure towards the process of implementing this new law, stating that they prefer to use their personal spray painters rather than the government-provided ones, with reasons.
Ourselves, we cannot go there. Say we have to go for this thing and paint the motor. We don't want to. We paint our motor with ourselves, with our one painter. Go and collect them numbers, and that's all.
Many of us we are paying balancing daily balance on this minibus. How will all the minibus in Calabar go to one place and do painting? Probably they will keep this motor for 1 week. They will not paint it. So how will you make it with your payment and your feeling, and your family?
The painting is okay. Understand? To at least for us to be in one color. I understand. But for him telling us, for us to go to one particular place and paint it, that is bad. That is wrong, completely wrong. We have our own spray painter. Like me, I have my own spray painter. So I would like to go and spray with my spray painter. That the one they said we should come to a particular place and spray money. We don't accept that.
It's not a good idea. Honestly, it's not a good idea. At least the person should take his vehicle to anywhere he wants to go. You understand? And spray it. It's not until you should go to government spray painter. You understand? At least they should give us the opportunity to go our own spray painter.
As it can be seen, public transportation drivers are against spraying their vehicles at the designated points by the Ministry of Transportation, each stating that they prefer to use the services of their private sprayers. We hope both the public transportation drivers and the Ministry of Transportation can come together to a standpoint. For Servicing News Panorama, Ifeanyi Peter reporting.
Over now to On the Spot with the Commissioner for Transportation, Pastor Ekpeyonkobom. Welcome to another episode of On the Spot on News Panorama. Today we'll be talking to the Commissioner for Transportation. He's here with us, Pastor Ekpeyonkobom. Welcome to On the Spot on News Panorama, sir.
Good afternoon. It's nice to have me.
Okay, sir. So on the 9th of April, 2024, actually, there was a press release from your office instructing drivers to pay certain amounts of money for spraying of their vehicles. If I can remember, for tricycle, they were to pay the sum of 30,600, while bus drivers are to pay the sum of 68,400.
Big bus drivers.
Big bus drivers pay the sum of 68,400. Then the mini buses and the taxis to pay the sum of 51,400. Can you enlighten us on the basis of this development, sir?
Thank you very much. Amongst the several policy trusts of this ministry since we came on board, on the 2nd of February 2024, I did a memo to His Excellency. And the memo was titled Proposal for the Implementation of the Use of State Colors in Intra-City Commercial Vehicles Operators Across the States. And you can see it had the approval of His Excellency. Now, before we arrived at this, we made several recommendations as to what we think should be the upgraded or the amended state color, owing to the fact that the previous state color was highly abused to the extent that it became acceptable that off colors should be operating side by side the state colors. On review of those incidences, it became imperative that, one, we should restore what is called security coding. Security coding as a policy didn't come with my government. Security coding has been a policy of this ministry. But however, on assumption of office, all the infrastructure and the database had been lost to the then consultant who carted those things away. Two, we had to come up with a state color because we needed to synchronize, regulate, and streamline what we call commercial transport operating within the city center. Now, when we got the approval of His Excellency, two things came up, two challenges. One was time frame within which to implement this policy. Two was taking into cognizance the state of the economy, what should be the cost implication. We set up a committee. That committee was headed by the chairman of the drivers' union. Okay. He came up with a cost of 80,000, and I said it's not acceptable. I, dissolved the committee, and I set up another committee. And that committee came up with a cost of about 75,000. And I said it wasn't acceptable. And I dissolved the second committee. I set up a third committee. I got a consultant. I gave him a benchmark. I said, I don't think anything beyond this region would be acceptable. Based on that, we had to have several meetings, and we discovered that there are three basic types of quality paint in the market. The Nigerian paints, we have the auto clear imported, and we have the auto base. The auto base is the most expensive. We opted for auto clear, which has certain advantages over the Nigerian paint. The Nigerian paint, gets faded easily, and then we won't be able to achieve our objective. And so I sent them to find out the best possible way we can achieve that, but with minimal cost. One paint manufacturer was brought to me, and his cost didn't solve our problem. Eventually, we were able to get an importer who was ready to give us bulk paints. Based on that bulk, we were able to arrive at this cost you're saying. And based on our findings, we discovered that that is the best possible price anywhere in the market.
Wow.
Immediately after that, getting that price, I called a meeting of all the drivers' union and associations, their leadership, and I briefed them inside my office here. And I told them, if for any reason you are not comfortable with this price, we have not released the price yet, I would like anybody who has a better pricing than this to come up. And two people suggested that they will be able to come up with better pricing. I constituted the two of them to a committee chaired by the ministry consultants to go and get us results. They went within 24 hours. They had nothing to alter what we had done. They came back and said, in actual fact, they've gone to the field, they've done everything, and they discovered that the price was actually the best. Find out in all sincerity from the average bus operator who has sprayed his bus on his own right now, not the state color, because some of them have gone to spray blue and whatever designs they've done. The average cost that they have sprayed those buses is 70,000. Do you understand? On their own. So at 51,400 is the best price possible. I stand to be controverted by anybody who says he has a better price. Whoever says he has a better price, I will award the person the job. You understand? That much of transparency we are committed to. Now, the bus drivers decided to protest. The issue is that what caused this protest? These bus drivers have been complaining for years that they are exploited with one form of ticket or the other. It has nothing to do with my administration or my leadership, but they've never protested. These bus drivers complained about extortion by illegal enforcement agencies over the years. They've never protested. Now, a policy which is yet to be implemented, enforcement on this state color is to start 1st of July.
Okay, so we'll come to the not parking well. Is there a way where, because some of these drivers before News Panorama crew had to come here because we report basically on human interest stories, what affect the public and how the government has been able to impact on the public. Now, is there a way where these people can be allowed or can be given a design to and the color to spray on their own? Because they seem to, from after their protest, they said they have cheaper places. They should be allowed to spray where they want to pray so that they can be able to.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I want you to help us. Call them, let them give you those cheaper places. Let them give you, this is the address. 10 addresses, 7 different addresses. Okay? You help because you're serving the public.
Yes.
Make contact with those people who would use you to invite those people for a meeting in the ministry. We want to adopt them because they are cheaper. Let us tell them the type of paint we want and let us regulate the process. So that before now the state color was blue. And a white band of 7 inch.
Yes.
Go to the road and see how bastardized the implementation is. Our determination is to regulate the process, that the concept design is implemented simply as it has been conceived. Hold on.
Okay.
Once you don't superintend over that process, it is going to be bastardized. The outcome would not be what we intend.
Okay.
When we have a standardized process this first round, it will be difficult for you to deviate. Because when you deviate, you'll be punished. But once you allow a seamless process to be handled by them, I can assure you, a man who cannot adopt himself to respecting a common thing like traffic lights gives you an insight to the mental state of his mind, that he is not in any way a conformist. And what is governance? Governance is the ability to compel you to adhere to regulations and to the laws.
With this uniformism we are trying to do,
yeah,
the fear on the minds of Koshivarian is that by the time, after 4 years, there might be a new implementation of a different idea. That is the fear on the minds of Koshivarians. Can you allay this fear so that they will be addressed?
There is no basis for the fear. That fear, I would simply call it mischief. Okay. What's the fear? What we are coming out with does not in any way deviate from the state color. The state primary color is blue and white. Now, we are trying to enhance the optics of the city. You and I would agree that the capital city, the ambience, the aesthetics has been greatly devalued over time. Okay. We are playing our own complementary role. We do expect other ministries, agencies, and what have you, to play their complementary role based, you understand, on their mandates for us to achieve a collective goal of moving Cross River State to the next level.
Yes.
You understand? Now, it would be difficult for you to deviate from something that has been standardized, functional, and result-oriented. What we are grappling with now, you understand, is the fact that this sector had been abandoned, you understand, and allowed to function without any form of strict regulation for 8 years. So now, reining in on those people back, you're basically fighting impunity because it had become a way of life. Lawlessness had become a way of life. These are the challenges. And now, do we buckle in? Do we back out? No, we can't back out. It would be irresponsible of me to collect my salary monthly, and I cannot do that which I took an oath to do, and that is enforce and implement the laws of Cross River State. It would amount to me betraying the trust of God upon my shoulder. The Bible says, woe unto a man that puts his hand on the plow and looks back. I can't look back. I run an open door policy, and I say at all times, come, let us engage. Come, let's reason together. I hold consistent meetings of consultation. The question is, what are the processes of interest articulation? You must first of all be able to, if you are not able to get an oral interaction, there should be an evidence of correspondence, at which point were they frustrated from being able to have audience.
Okay, sir, so having
protest is the last form of interest articulation. So when these processes are not observed, then you know that there's mischief somewhere.
Yes. Having said you had meetings with their heads, and it's not just 1 or 2 meetings, you've had several meetings with their heads. Sir, as low-income earners, what was their response to the prices? What was their reaction? Did they say they were going to be able to afford it? Did they agree to it?
They accepted, and I want you to go the extra mile. We can avail you some of the phone numbers of this leadership of the different associations, different unions. Reach out to them.
We'll have to reach out to them.
Reach out to them. Do a thorough job so you're able to balance your information.
Yes.
I see it as absolute mischief because at no point has there been a breakdown in the communication chain.
Okay.
There's never been any time that we stifled their effort to reach out to us. You understand? I am one commissioner. On every electronic media I have appeared, my phone number is read out. The average driver calls me at will. I pick my calls. When I had a general meeting with them, I announced my number. And I told the leadership, announce your number. I told the police who attended, we are public servants. It is their right. Some of them, I can't place a face on their names, but I'm used to their names. So it's me, and we communicate. I'm a public officer. I owe them a duty to answer their calls and hear their problems. One of the fundamental problems they raised when we had the general meeting was that enforcement of tickets was making life unbearable to them.
I was coming to that.
Good.
From 500 to 700.
No. You're talking about cost of tickets. That same day, I passed an order that ticket enforcement must stop by 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And they were happy. And it has stopped.
Okay, so what about the price range?
No, the price range preceded my assumption of office. It's a holistic thing. There are different segments to the ticket. It's not a ministerial thing. My ministry is not selling any ticket. I want that straight. Ministry of Transportation as a new clause is not selling any ticket. Agencies under me, CTRA, are selling tickets. Local government are selling tickets. Infrastructure is selling tickets. Commerce is selling tickets.
But they all report to your office.
They don't report to my office. This is the problem.
Okay.
Now, under the law, every operation under the Ministry of Transportation, under my purview, is supposed to be controlled by me. But these are extraneous situations where I am not in absolute control. Yet I am taking the blame. So it needs a holistic engagement with other players, which I intend to come clean to His Excellency, to give me the extra authority to rein in on those people. Let us see how we can get to the drawing board to review these things downward where possible.
Okay.
But today when they talk about tickets, they say Commissioner for Transportation. I am not selling any tickets. None, not one.
Okay, so now we talked about bus stops. Congratulations, first of all. I commend you for the renovations of the bus stops and all that. We like it. But the problem now is not all the bus stops have the house thing. where that's the proper bus stop. Like, for instance, the big wall, this other side. I can mention so many other bus stops that do not actually have the shield to protect people to actually stand. But it's known over the years that it's a bus stop. For instance,
what is a big wall bus stop? Which is that Fidelity Bank?
Yes, not this other side of the road, not the Fidelity side has a shield.
The other side.
The other side. So those are the places. There are so many places like that.
We need to
MCC,
build.
we need to build. The state needs to build. But for the meantime, where there are no proper shield. Now, I interviewed a driver who said that there was an instruction from your office, which we are here to also confirm that if they park in any of the bus stops where there is no shield to pick up somebody, like you clear to pick up somebody, the boys will come and harass you and they'll ask for money. And I asked the second person, he said that of recent there are some boys from the ministry who harasses people on the road, even when you clear at the bus stop. So we are here now to hear from you how true, if these boys are actually coming from your ministry or they're coming from somewhere else, that actually harass these drivers when they clear properly, not when they don't clear properly, because when they don't clear properly, they're actually offensive.
I love this topic you've chosen, but you have to be ready to work.
Okay, sir. So in all these policies, all this, everything that has been changed for the good of the state, have there been stipulated months for these people to be able to sit up, starting from the spraying, because there have to be some months?
Enforcement for spraying. We have been on this thing since February. Enforcement for spraying is supposed to start 1st of July. But I am amenable to push it forward if the response is meaningful. Within my power to say, okay, no, the response is good, and let's still give them a breather, and let's shift it from 1st of July to August or something. You understand? But I have never minced words from the first day I came into this office. I said the era of off-color will soon go. We will not be intimidated. You don't shy away. When you are sure of what you're doing, and you're doing it for the overall public good, history will not forgive you if you don't take decisions. But history will forgive you if you take decisions and you make mistakes.
Okay, so are we saying that with this spraying and uniformism, the issue of insecurity will fade away?
These are some of the steps. There is hardly any society in the world that is crime-free. But these are one of the requisite steps that you must take primarily. The future of your child is not known to you, is known to God. It doesn't mean that when you send your child to school, that means that child is secure, the future is secure from poverty. But basically the ability of that child to read and write, you have empowered him to be able to pass through the travels of life and to try as much as possible to give the child the advantage of staying afloat. That's it. But the guarantee of whether the child is successful or not is in the hand of God. So we are doing the needful, so we will not be asked, what did you do? These are basic prerequisites we need to carry out, you understand, to forestall the basic eventualities that can lead us to a total breakdown of law and order and criminality.
Okay, sir. So finally, is there something you need to say that is important and we've not asked, and you feel it's important for the public to be aware of?
Well, I want to tell the public that they should have confidence in the leadership of His Excellency. He means well. And that I don't see any of his appointees who can single-handedly decide to derail his vision without being reined in. And that the Minister of Transportation means well. I'm not a commissioner who grew up in America. I grew up here. We understand their pains, we understand the times, we understand all of this. But this is Calabar, this is Cross River. It's our state. Nobody would change it. Nobody would build it for us. We all have to understand that there's a need for us to leave our comfort zone and understand that whatever little sacrifices we're trying to make is for the good of everybody. And we should not be fighters of positive change. Let's not stand on the way of progress. Let's come together. We are constructive and we are willing to engage. Let's reason together. We are not exploitative and we're not trying to stifle the system or the people. We've taken best decisions in the best interest of everybody. And so they should have confidence in us.
You've heard from the commissioner himself. He has given some time for all the commercial drivers to register and then for both the spraying and the coding number. The time is now. We also hear from the commercial drivers and their leaders to know the way forward. Keep a date with us. I remain Josephine Efanga. That is all we have on our lineup this week. We hope to be back same time next week. I am Josephine Efanga.